It's present day and you're in the car driving around while listening to some music with your friend.
Hey bro, has Joji released Smithereens yet?
Yeah, it's really good. I listened to it right when it dropped.
Play that right now, I wanna hear it.
Bet.
How long you been a Joji fan for?
Shoot, since like 2014.
Bruh, Joji ain't start making music till 2017.
I'm vegan.
You hungry caterpillar looking
It's just a prank, bro.
I'm not saying we should hate fat people. I'm saying we should kill them.
Hamburger, please!
Yeah, I guess you're right.
And my eyes get low in that all-white truck. I can barely see shit. Hit the gas like you wouldn't believe it. Thank God I was always healing in a time so.
Joji went from being a viral YouTube sensation to a musical superstar. But how did this happen? George, aka Joji, grew up in Japan and moved to the United States as a teenager. He started uploading random skits with his friends under the channel called Disaster Music, but not for long. During this time, he wasn't doing anything on the channel and said he was focusing on his music career.
About 2,000 on your SATs. I don't really care if my future isn't set for me.
When everything fails,
Got a Waffle House in Guam. You can always come and find me.
George went under the name MC Ruckus in the Japanese collective Beats and Miso, a group that was surrounded in hip-hop culture. So it's safe to say that his YouTube channel, Disaster Music, was used to help promote his music career. But that wouldn't be till 2011, where George returned to YouTube with one of the most iconic intros of all time.
I'd like to share with you a little story.
Through the 2010s, he created multiple YouTube channels such as Too Cool For You 92, Cosmo Chino, TV Filthy Frank, and more. However, the one that started everything was Disaster Music. On this channel, he played multiple characters and personalities, acting out skits, his main persona being Filthy Frank. Filthy Frank was everything a content creator shouldn't be, yet somehow he was able to gain a following and become a YouTube icon.
Konnichiwa, bitches! How do you get pussy? I'm not saying we should hate fat people. I'm saying we should kill them. What pisses me off more than anything? Those Asians. Oh look, I'm Asian. Ching chong lim ping ping. Like what the mongoose?
From a viewer's perspective, Frank was not supposed to be taken as scripted or fake, rather a real character who said anything that came to mind no matter if it was offensive or not. During Filthy Frank's time, he released his first song, Who's the Sucker, which proved to be the start of his so-called meme rap career.
When I was younger, I used to play with Play-Doh. Now that I'm older, I still play with Play-Doh.
Shortly after, we were introduced to Pink Guy, another character part of the Filthy Frank show. Pink Guy was exactly how he sounds, a man in an all-pink suit. He often ran around screaming various nonsense in public while making weird expressions.
Hamburger, please! Hamburger, please! Hamburger, please! What the fuck? Can I have a hamburger, please?
The internet loved the shock value of Pink Guy, while the majority of the public was being disturbed or just trying to ignore him altogether. Pink Guy was also a meme rapper, which also allowed George to continue promoting his upcoming music career in a joking, non-serious way. Pink Guy's goal was to use his extreme shock value to gain further social media attention, and it was working. And with Pink Guy, there was Prometheus, Shin Shin, Salamander Man, Red Dick, Safari Man, and Lemon. All these characters were involved in the Filthy Frank show, because it was a show. Even with the die-hard fan base that was obsessed with the storyline and edgy humor, YouTube didn't like Filthy Frank. With a new bias in 2014, where YouTube wanted to present primarily family-friendly content, YouTube began limiting content creators who were trying to push these boundaries. And later in 2014, everything came back to him.
But anyways, this channel's received so many blows that it can barely stand on its own feet anymore. It's just so diseased and weak. You know, being constantly attacked by feminists, politically correct keyboard warriors, and educated people. It'll do that to you.
With the multiple channel strikes to Disaster Music, he was forced to reevaluate and move channels, so he started using the TV Filthy Frank account. With having to make this change, you would think that he would start censoring his content from the new policies at YouTube, but he kept going, and in fact, took it even further.
Drug abuse, alcoholism, pussy, murder, mariachi band themed antiques, child endangerment, racism, ableism, animal abuse.
He started collaborating with other big YouTubers and even uploaded a dance video titled The Harlem Shake. This video went viral and started a massive 2014 trend, making Filthy Frank even bigger. From this point, he was making the same content portraying his characters with even more content and even more music videos all the way up to 2017. Then he released his second full-length album, Pink Season. Pink Season brought back his out-of-pocket song titles like Gays for Trump, Please Stop Calling Me Gay, Rice Balls, and even Meme Machine that was featured on Jimmy Fallon.
Let's take a listen to Meme Machine.
Meme Machine.
Meme.
Wow.
Give me the memes. I need the memes. There are good memes and there are bad memes. Why has God abandoned us?
And honestly, this is probably one of the only songs that wasn't offensive and didn't have a curse word in each line of a verse. But there was one song on the project that was different from the rest, called Fried Noodles.
Pussy, 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 can't you see?
The song starts off being the same Pink guy, but at one point in the song, he drastically changes his style and tone. This was something we've never heard from Pink guy before.
They say I'm crazy, but lately I've been defending me. Cause take a look around, motherfucker, everyone's digging me.
I live in a constant state of fear and misery. Do you miss me anymore? And I don't even notice when it hurts anymore.
Pussy, pussy, pussy.
This 20-second clip was the first glimpse of Joji. Later in 2017, he uploaded a video called Filthy Frank Exposes Himself. This was the first time revealing his true self.
The Filthy Frank Show. So this is what you guys have been up to, huh?
Although he gained such a large audience, he goes on to say how much his alter ego type characters were affecting his health and even giving him seizures.
I have not been well the last couple months. Long story short, I was born with this, but I was recently diagnosed with a brain condition that ironically gives me seizures. But unfortunately, what happens here is a lot of the seizures are actually induced by stress, which unfortunately a lot of it comes from running this show. It's tough.
One of the biggest reasons he made this video, despite the effects of his mental health while running the show, was to introduce himself to his audience. And with this, he created a channel called Joji Vlogs, one of the first real signs of Joji. The first detailed showing of his everyday life without having anything to do with the Filthy Frank show. These were mostly boring, shaky, and lacking a goal, but most people's everyday lives are like this. This is primarily an example of why vloggers have to come up with crazy things on the spot to make their videos entertaining. The main reason why I bring this up is because George was happy. He enjoyed being able to honestly express his true self.
You guys don't realize that I exist as well as a human. There's Frank, there's Pink Guy, there's Salamander Man, there are all these wonderful fuckers living here, but then there's me as well, and people not knowing that I existed and that it was just these guys really gave me a lot of stress, you know, because I'm a normal person, just like the rest of you guys.
He was hoping that his audience would care about him as much as they did his characters. Pretty reasonable, right? Well, through the career George made on YouTube, he created a fan base that was nothing more than toxic internet trolls, who were disappointed with George for breaking character. To them, the real person behind the show didn't matter. They didn't care about his health condition or about his happiness. They only cared about the entertainment aspect of the show. This backlash caused George to delete the video exposing himself later on. While George was focusing on his true self, he was uploading tracks on his SoundCloud under the name Joji. Posting these tracks on one platform with little to no promotion, almost as a side hobby that he was interested in. He uploaded his first 2 tracks called Thom and You Suck Charlie.
Can you be a little bit stronger, baby?
These tracks had George softly singing and rapping over lo-fi beats, a certain style that started peaking, especially with the lo-fi study girl, that is still relevant today.
I never see you anymore.
As he continued to release more of these, you could tell he was enjoying more things besides vlogging. The song World Star Money was one of the first songs that actually got some recognition from his fans.
I looked at you and said,
But over the next year, he would quietly post these songs on SoundCloud that were shorter with little to no lyric, and that focused mostly on the instrumentals playing in the background. This is where 88 Rising comes in. 88 Rising is a record label, management, video production, and marketing company that helps promote Asian musicians in the States. And before Joji, some of the most popular artists were Keith Ape, Rich Brian, and the Higher Brothers. With uploads under the name Joji on the 88 Rising page, one can make the assumption that Joji was now affiliated with 88 Rising. With Joji being more part of the platform, he finally started putting more time into his writing and music, and was on track being the singer and songwriter he wanted to be.
I don't wanna waste my time if I can't be by your side.
Finally, he was able to show the world his potential and the amount of effort he was willing to dedicate himself to his music career. And in 2017, George only released 3 videos under the Filthy Frank show. Filthy Frank was coming to an end, but it wasn't. With every upload Filthy Frank had, he would gain viral attention. It's not like Joji was already bigger than Filthy Frank. And looking at his standpoint, it seemed that he had a better shot at his music career with Pink Eye than Joji. So George had a choice. The blue pill, where he would be sustained in the same thing he's been doing for all these years, that came with the fame and the money, but his mental health and identity at stake. Or the red pill, taking a complete 180, doing something that makes him happy, while trying to sustain the popularity he once had. Then in 2017, he released the EP In Tongues, featuring tracks like Demons, Window, and Will He.
Still remember the taste of my lips, my lips, my lips, my lips.
It was clear what he wanted to do. Once the project came out, he started building a fan base that didn't even know who Frank was. A month later, after his newfound success, George tweeted out a statement that reads,
This is old news, but I figured I'd give an official statement. Thank you for your understanding and God bless. Although previously mentioned through Billboard, I believe an official statement as to why I'm now done with comedy is owed to my former fan base, of which I'm extremely grateful for. And while it genuinely pains me to express this, I do hope that the reasons below may provide some insight into my decision. Unfortunately, I no longer enjoy producing that kind of content. Several serious health concerns, including but not limited to throat tissue damage and neurological conditions that I prefer not to get into. This decision is final. I really can't express just how grateful I am to you all, nor will I ever forget the relationship that we had together. Moving forward, it is up to you whether you'd like to join or not. In any event, I will strive to continue creating and developing projects I am passionate about, and hope you'll succeed in doing the same. Joji.
Filthy Frank officially retired to pursue his career as Joji. This was the best thing he could have done, because yes, he had a successful career on YouTube, but it wouldn't have lasted long. With YouTube already not liking him on the platform, and with the heavy impact of cancel culture, he would have been one of those channels that was terminated directly off the platform. So this was a risk that made sense, even if he didn't know it at the time. He quit YouTube before his fall off, or his demise, certifying him as a YouTube legend. Later, after he signed contribution partner rights with Empire under 88 Rising, he was a full-blown musician. So if his fans hated his serious music, why was it working? Well, even though most of his fans were toxic and weren't supportive over Joji, there were still a handful of fans that were supportive. I mean, he had millions of subscribers across all channels, so of course he was going to get some support from a couple thousand or 100,000 people. A year later, with his album coming out, he released his debut song leading up to his album called Slow Dancing in the Dark. And still to date, this is one of the biggest records, being multi-platinum and almost 1 billion streams on Spotify and over 300 million views on the official music video. From this song, he facilitated a large momentum with the release of his debut album, Balladis 1, in November of 2018. This project certified him as the first Asian artist to top the Billboard R&B hip-hop album chart, with the top tracks other than Slow Dancing in the Dark being Attention, Wanted You, No Fun, Can't Get Over You, Test Drive, and Yeah Right, which all have over 100 million streams each on Spotify at the time of recording, while Yeah Right having 500 million streams.
Yeah, you better know that she ain't never give a single fuck about me. Yeah, you bet you know that we
Overall, his music career was and is very successful. Adding to that, he started getting traction from GQ, Complex, and Genius that made him even more popular. While many people still associate with his old content, people either support his transition or are just completely unaware of his past and only know him from his music career. In the process of his music career, he transitioned to being a lot more private with his life. The only time he would show himself to the public eye is when he's willing to drop music. We can see this with a 2-year gap he has between albums. After his first project, Ballads 1, he dropped his sophomore project, Nectar. This included feature songs like Ew, Give Me Love, Daylight, Run, Like You Do, Your Man, and Sanctuary, that all have 100 million streams each on Spotify.
If you've been waiting for falling in love, baby, you don't have to wait on me.
Nectar put his sound and versatility on another level. Joji seemed to be very relevant to the public eye with multiple music videos and more activity on social media to help promote his album. Then later in 2020, he disappeared. Now this could just be to build tension for any upcoming music, but could also be because he has the freedom to privacy without having to worry about it affecting his career. Joji was quiet all the way through 2021 with a few shows and interviews. Then later this year, he released his leading single leading up to his album called Glimpse of Us.
Cause sometimes I look in her eyes and that's where I find a glimpse of us.
This song blew up in popularity, especially with the help of TikTok, as it was a trending sound across the platform. And this is really the point where his music went worldwide. From beforehand, his fanbase was comprised of people who spoke English and from the Asian descent. With this track in his album Smithereens, I noticed that a lot of the comments were in languages other than English. I went to translate some of these messages, and all of them were showing their love for Joji and how much his music means to them without even knowing the English language and especially not even being aware of his previous past. Joji went from a YouTuber to a superstar. And this isn't a YouTube deal like Justin Bieber or Selena Gomez, who show themselves singing and then became successful. This is a full-blown YouTuber. People have tried making the switch before, like Sky is Minecraft or FaZe Blaziken, who took that 180. However, the difference is their careers didn't pan out the way Joji's did. Others may compare him to KSI, who has gone #1 in the UK for his music, but was never really classified as a musician. KSI is more of an internet celebrity with his YouTube career, boxing career, and even his own sports drink. Some might even compare him to Scarlord, previously a YouTuber with a couple thousand subscribers who quit to be on the top of the metal trap scene. But Joji already certified himself as a massive YouTube icon, not someone with a couple thousand subscribers. Joji racked up over 10 million subscribers through all of his channels, making that comparison invalid. The very thing that Joji did wasn't supposed to happen. But yet, Joji now sits at 31 million monthly listeners on Spotify. And for anyone that's not familiar with monthly listeners, that's more than Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, J. Cole, Snoop Dogg, AC/DC, Lil Uzi Vert, and the Beatles. From being a viral meme sensation that progressed into someone who could never be challenged and a YouTube icon, to a multi-platinum making musician that would sell out shows all across the world. It seems that George can accomplish anything that he puts his mind to, and it doesn't seem like he'll be slowing down anytime soon.
To be inspired and like kind of to feel represented by somebody or like a group of people even, and like